All righty there. Happy inauguration day. That was pretty amazing. Um, so for today's practice, just in case you need to double check and run and grab something, you're going to probably need a spinal strip. You're going to need either a couple of bolsters or rolled up blankets or something to go underneath your knees as props, or maybe like under one knee and between the knees. We're going to be doing like a yin twist. And then you're definitely going to need something to either prop your bottom on or a firm chair for sitting on. We're going to have our legs going one direction and our body twisting. And so that's what you'll need for your comfort. And also something to sit on for doing some seated work. So whatever you think would be best for your body today, please get that. It's really important for we're going to do that one. I call it Pretty Lady. It's the seated somatic twist. And so you want to really make sure that you're comfortable in your body. And it's more important to sit on a chair so that you can bend your legs properly than it is just to try to sit on the floor because you don't want to go grab a chair. So please just go grab one for me. That would be just fantastic. Okay, so we are on week 2 of studying Asteya, which is the third yama, and talks about non-stealing. So, we've talked about non-violence, we've talked about truthfulness, and then last week we started talking about non-stealing. So one of the many ways we steal is from the earth and from the future. We so very often forget that we are the stewards of Mother Earth. If you think about how you behave when you're a guest in somebody else's home, you wouldn't go in there and say, boy, this is a really crappy meal. Why did you overcook it? Or you wouldn't like take a shower in the bathroom and then just drop the towel and leave it and walk out. Nor would you decide that you really liked their throw pillows and take them when you leave without permission. But these types of behaviors are the types of things that we do to the earth around us all the time. We just take without asking or without thinking if we really need it. We just leave our garbage lying around. We create garbage to be left lying around by our consumerism. And even if we're trying not to, we're still creating garbage. Like when I see all the zero waste people, they're really creating a lot of waste too. They're just making somebody else responsible for disposing of their waste. I mean, they can be trying harder by doing bulk, like what I do, but there should also be an awareness of all the big bags and the big containers that are still coming in that they're taking their smaller amount from. So in that way, they're still contributing to that. So we should at least try to develop an awareness of these behaviors. So while we're doing our best, we're still stealing from the earth and its resources. We also need to keep in mind that we're all just visitors here, that this earth has been around for millions and millions of years, and we are here but for a speck of time. And so because of that, we're the ones who are visiting, and all the people before us and all the people now after us, they're only here for a little bit. So we need to act like we're honored, that we're guests here instead. In terms of non-stealing, we also need to remember that on this more cosmic level, nothing here on the physical plane really belongs to us. We might say, like, oh, this is the new car I own, or this is my house I own, or I own these 25 acres of land or whatnot. But in a weird way, we really don't own it. If we feel such possession and that need to hold something so tight for us in a way, that's just another form of stealing. And in our culture, especially like in America, well, most of modern civilization is really focused on what we own. So we don't understand that we truly don't own anything, if that makes sense. If you if you look at how some of poorer cultures maybe act, um, or more of the indigenous tribes, like who are living in the Amazon rainforest or whatnot, they a lot of times have different views on ownership and who owns what. Um, and then in our culture specifically, in terms of of non-stealing, there's a great gap between those who have and those who have not, the rich and the poor. And then there was a middle class, but there's not much of a middle class anymore compared to how there used to be. And we have gotten far more aware of this over the last few years as the rich keep getting richer. Um, and actually, it's not even, I was thinking of all the weird tax breaks, which didn't benefit us. It benefited the extremely wealthy. But during the COVID, this has become so much more obvious and apparent. This this gap in income. Um, so so we just need to be aware of how many resources the very, very rich are using and how many poorer people are using. We also have an attitude of spending a lot of our time thinking about what we need to buy or what planning for what we want to get in the future instead of being really grateful for the abundance that we already have and that's around us. Um, the blessings of the earth, including food, water, and clean air, are for the global community and not just for a few people. And if you think along those lines, there have been moves, and especially by some major companies, and I think one of them was Nestle's. Nestle's is kind of an evil company, um, trying to commodify water in very poor areas, like trying to set up water pipelines and then selling the water to people so that rather than walking a mile to fill their jugs, it's at their door, but they're forced to then buy water. They don't have access to it the way it used to be. And that's that's not okay. Um, but if we think about all the Earth's resources playing for the global community, then we need to focus on that for the rights of all of Earthlings, not just human Earthlings. So we need to think of the all the animals, both wild and the ones that we um, control, and think about how what we do impacts them. So when we build a new house and tear down a whole bunch of trees to clear a spot of land, that has a far-reaching impact. We've seen that in our area with the flooding, and so much of the flooding in part has been caused by the farmers around here, how they farmed to begin with. When they were doing the contour farming, it wasn't so bad, but the way for many years ago they did so much clear cutting of the land, or we've seen that around us where they've bulldozed down trees just to get, that much more around the edge of the field. But when those things happen, then it makes the flooding easier and it drags all that rich topsoil down and it clogs up the Kickapoo, and that helps contribute to the flooding, which is another way that we've been stealing from the earth and from each other. Um, we we are not just stealing from ourselves and stealing from the earth. We're stealing from all the generations of children and people that come after us by our behavior and our treatment. And um, it's important to not get depressed and bogged down in this. And I actually can get very kind of depressed about this sometimes. But I try to focus on just doing the best that I can in every single way that I possibly can. And there's things I just know I can't do any better at. But but trying to be mindful of what I'm doing helps at least. Um, and then we should try to make all of our decisions in our lives as if they matter for the next 7 generations into the future. If we try to think about what that's going to look like for the future generations and how it's going to impact the health of the planet and impact the future health, we might make better decisions in what we're doing. One friend and I were talking recently about taking plastic bags. I hate when I forget to take a bag into the grocery store and have to use a bag because I have so many cloth bags and I've used them for years. And so I kind of view that as my, sounds really silly, but as my punishment, like, that's my slap on the wrist because now I had to bring another plastic bag home. Um, and I can't come up with ways to avoid Ziploc baggies, but I've been throwing out some now that I've had dated since 2015. So I think 6 years is good life out of them. It doesn't justify it completely. I just don't know how to make things fit in my freezer without them. So those are the things I contemplate. So this week, the practice is to notice where you're stealing from the earth and stealing from the future. What are you taking without returning something of at least equal value? This week, live in reciprocity with the earth and with awareness of the future. So, with that, if you would please, just go lay down on your mats and we'll get started. So if you would please just do that gentle soma scan, starting with the top of your head and traveling down the back of the neck, through the spine, all the way down to the soles of the feet and the tips of the toes. Just notice anything that feels tense, tight, uneven. See if there's any one little thing that you can do to bring a little more ease into your body. And then if you would please just take some nice long deep breaths, drawing the breath in, down, down, down into the belly, letting it slide up to the lower part of the rib cage, expanding nice and wide, floating up through the rib cage, opening wide like an umbrella, and then letting it all gently release. Just continue with this umbrella breath, seeing if you can be aware of the floating up of the collarbones with the inhalation and the release of the collarbones with the exhalation. If you can feel that gentle bulging of the pelvic floor when you inhale and the release when you exhale. A long, slow, steady, full yogic breath. Now, as you're doing this long umbrella breath in the body, I invite you just to turn in with that inward vision. And once again, start noticing the parts of the body that you paid attention to before. See if there's maybe any shift or change. See if maybe just by the practice of inhaling and exhaling, that movement might be giving a little bit of a massage to that spot and might already be loosening it up. And then I'm going to ask you, if you would please, to 1 foot at a time, bring your feet onto the mat. An easy resting pose, constructive resting pose. With the knees in the air, soles of the feet on the mat. Knees are about a hip width apart. The weight is equally distributed between the heels and the balls of the feet. Knees aren't dropping in towards each other, nor are they dropping away from each other. Just gently press through the feet and float that bum up in the air. And then allow it to gently drop back down onto the mat. So that that sacrum, the back of the pelvis, feels nice and wide and loose and comfortable. If you need to, go ahead and do it a second or a third time. Just gently kind of wiggling and rolling down onto the mat in the back. Once we're in this position, we can start with that lovely arch and flattening motion. So from neutral, we want to begin to roll the hips and the tailbone and the sit bones forward and down towards the floor below us, allowing that belly to lift up towards the sky as if there's a string attached to it, lifting it up. Feeling the lower back arch up off the ground. Long, slow release. And then roll the hips in the opposite direction, as if you're trying to curl them up towards your torso. So if you're trying to draw that tailbone up towards the chest. Flattening that spine on the mat. And then allow that to release back to neutral. And then roll the hips back so your lower back rises into the arch again. And these movements are always so long, slow. Really listening to what your body is asking of you, not trying to force it further than it wants to go. But only going just enough. Coming right up to that edge. Any more would be too far and forcing the body. And on your next flatten, allow the fronts of those shoulders to float up towards the ceiling as well. You're going to feel that spine flatten further up into the neck. Long, slow release. And as you go into the arch, the backs of the shoulders come down towards the mat below, pressing down. And that arch radiates the whole length of the spine up towards the neck and the shoulders. Just rolling in and out of these many arches and curls. So let's let our body be quiet again. Check in with our constructive resting pose, easy resting pose. Realign our bodies if we need. And then with our arms on the sides of our bodies, let's draw them up towards the T position. Just going as far as you can without straining your body. If you can come all the way up into the T position, so your arms are coming straight out from the sides of your shoulders, great. And if you can't, that's perfectly fine. Just come up as far as you can. So lying on your back with the arms out, coming towards the T position and your knees still up in the air. I'm going to ask you to open your right palm up to the sky and the left palm down on the floor below. And then just let's rotate those hands back and forth so that as one palm is open to the sky, the other palm is down on the floor below. And then really allow this movement to grow so that it's a rolling of the arms in the shoulder sockets, as opposed to just a rolling of the hands on the wrists. Try to, as much as you can, coordinate that movement of the thumbs as the hands roll so that both thumbs will point up towards the sky at the same time as the arms are rolling back and forth. See if you can feel any movement of your shoulders. If you can, you'll notice that when the palm opens to the sky, the back of that shoulder moves as if it's coming down towards the earth below. So feel free to just give a little more movement with that to make sure that contact happens if you're able. You'll notice with the hand of the palm that's down on the ground, that shoulder floats up to the sky above. And if you can help that along a little bit, great. So then we've made this movement a rolling of the arms and a rolling of the shoulders. And then just allow your arms to be quiet and relax. You may find that you want to leave your arms out. That's fine. If your arms need a little break from this position, go ahead and move them wherever they need to so you feel comfortable. And then let's draw our attention down towards our knees. And I'm going to ask you to allow both of the knees to just drop towards the left. So that left sole is going to come up off the ground. The right sole will roll up off the ground. The knees will be dropped to the left. And there's going to be a twist in the spine, especially down at the lower end of the spine. And possibly that right bum cheek's going to float up off the mat. And then allow those knees to swoop back up with control and drop over to the right. And then allow those knees to come back up and drop over. And just roll back and forth in this way in the lower spine. And the next time your knees come back up to the sky, allow them to be quiet right there, pointing up, back in easy resting pose. Maybe you don't want to press through your feet again and allow that bum to float back up. Gently come back down. Right palm up, left palm down. And this time as we rotate the arms in the shoulder sockets so that the hands move, we're going to allow the head to roll along with that movement so that we're always gazing towards the hand that's open to the sky. Our face is always in the direction of that hand that's open. Again, see if you can allow the shoulders to move with the arms. And then just allow the head and the arms to be quiet again. Once again, right palm open to the sky, left palm down on the ground. Let's turn our head so it's facing the right palm open to the sky. Then drop our knees towards the left. And then let's roll the arms and the knees and the head all to the opposite direction. And then lift and roll them back so that we're twisting the body and twisting the spine. And then let's lift our feet off the ground and pull our knees to the chest. Hug our knees and roll the back out a little bit. Then we'll let the legs grow long on our mats. See if we can feel any changes in our bodies just from the work that we've done already. So now would be the time that you probably want a couple of props for your legs. Now, we're going to just rest in a twist for 2 minutes. So the one most basic, gentle way of doing it is just to do what we were doing in the washcloth and allow the knees to drop over towards the right and allow that left bum cheek to come up. And then you can prop a little bit under the knee if you need it. Maybe you won't. Maybe you'll need 2 blankets propped under there to fill that space. You want to fill up any open space in the legs, between the legs and the floor, so that you can rest comfortably and relax. You might want to take another little pillow or blanket and tuck it between both the knees so that you're fully supported. You may find that once you get supported so that you feel that you can be in this position for a bit, that your opposite bum cheek doesn't come up off the ground as much as it did with the washcloth, and that's fine. So if you would just get settled in that position. Now, if this really does feel very easy for you and you want to try going a little bit deeper to get a little more sensation, you can also bring the feet off the ground and then twist over at a higher level, almost like you're in a chair, okay? So just pick which level is the best for your body. You may actually find that this might be easier for you than the other one. It actually is for me. So Now that you've played with a couple of different directions, you can cozy on in. And just allow our body to relax and release. You may like the sensation of having your arms out to the sides again, kind of in that T. Maybe putting your right hand on the top of the left leg. See if you can send your breath down into the twist in the spine, to any place that might feel tight, where you're feeling a lot of sensation. Check in with yourself. If you need to come out now, if your body's asking you to, please just come back up into easy resting pose and then allow the knees to come together in the center in yin resting pose and relax there. Just a couple more seconds. And then bring those knees back up. And once again, as we drop to the left side with the knees, come back into easy resting pose. And go ahead and try that one level again, like when we just did our washcloth, coming from easy resting pose and dropping the knees towards the left, seeing how that feels. Propping there wherever you need. Or maybe you're going to want to lift the feet up off the floor first, and then allow the knees to drop together over to the left side. That gives a little bit bigger of a twist. So pick the spot that feels right in your body, and you may discover that this side of the body is very different in the twist than the other way was. It needs to be propped differently. So then go ahead and allow yourself to start doing some nice, long, deep breaths here. Allowing the body to release and relax. Trying that full yogic breath, that umbrella breath in this position. Noticing how the breath feels on the back of the rib cage. And then allow those knees to come back up. Rolling out of this position. Once again, hugging the knees to the chest and rolling that back out. And then if you would please get a hold of that spinal strip. any of you are really missing those pool noodles, I do have some for sale. So if you live locally, we can arrange to get them to you somehow. So remember, you want to be on that strip so that your tailbone and your head are both on it. Whether you're using a towel or a blanket or a pool noodle. If this causes any irritation in the body, please feel free just to do what we're going to do while you are on the floor instead. So on the spinal strip, let's just do a few arches and flattens. Rolling the hips and the tailbone forward so that we're pressing a little more on the spinal strip. And then rolling that opposite way. So the back of the hips are coming up off the ground. Bum lifts a little bit. And then I'm going to ask you to bring your knees together and press them in the center. And then allow them to slowly open up together on the strip. Coming apart, away from each other. Soles of the feet are definitely going to roll onto their sides some. Notice how your back goes into a gentle arch with this. And as you bring those legs slowly back up, notice how that arch disappears and that spine begins to flatten again. Gently pressing the knees together. And then wherever your arms are lying down at your side, I want you to roll them internally towards the side of the body. So the backs of the forearms, so the backs of the hands are lying towards the torso of the body. And so the backs of the forearms are actually touching the body. And the shoulders themselves are curling up towards the sky above, a little bit like they did when we did those mini arches and curls. And then I want you to allow the arms to unwind the opposite way so that the hands roll out to become flat on the mat. You'll notice the shoulders releasing and separating, coming away from each other. Keep rolling those arms to the back so the hands are on the floor, rolling them till the sides of the hands are touching down, and you're going to feel the backs of the shoulders coming down towards the floor below, as if it's hugging around that spinal strip. Roll those arms back up. Bring those knees together and press them together so that we're closed up in that flower. And then unrolling the arms and the shoulders. The knees begin to come apart as well. And everything opens back up. So our back goes into an arch again on the strip. Arms are rolled away. Palms are facing away from the torso. Let's do it one more time. Roll up and apart. All right. Bringing the knees back up in easy resting pose. Again, press through the feet, floating that bum up in the air and coming back down on that spinal strip. And rolling that lower back out a little bit on it. Feel nice and solid. And bring the arms straight up in the air and steeple arms by putting the palms together. And then trying to keep that nose in alignment with the thumbs. Allow the arms to drop towards the left. And we want to keep the hips and the pelvis nice and steady and not rolling and wobbling on that strip. So we want to gently roll and twist the upper part of the spine towards the left. Coming back up. And then towards the right. We want to keep steady and stable on the strip as we do it. I know it's a challenge because they're rounded. That's part of what I like about these. You have to work so hard in your core and in your body to control the movement. Now let's let the hands slide down. Let them come up to rest around the upper arm so that we're giving ourselves a little bit of a hug. We want to again keep our nose in alignment, moving with the body, with the elbows. And we want to do a twist in these lullaby arms towards the left and then towards the right. Now switch the direction of the arm so the opposite arm is on top this time. It's going to really change this movement in your body. But again, that twist towards the left and that twist towards the right. Releasing the arms. Press through the feet one more time, coming up into that mini bridge pose. When your bum floats back down, you can just let the weight roll to one of your body to roll to one side or the other off of the mat. And then allow your legs to grow long once again. Do that soma scan from the top of the head, down, down, down to the soles of the feet. Noticing how your body feels. We've already done so much work here already. Now, because we're going to do that pretty lady at the end, we're going to do that little release piece that we did before. With the eyes. So once again, I want you to, lying on your back, chin up to the sky, I want you to allow your neck to roll. Turning your head towards the right, noticing your range of motion. How far can it go? Then bringing that chin back up to the sky. And dropping it towards the left. And then once again, I'm going to ask you to interlace your fingers underneath the back of the head. And we're doing this so that we can really make sure that we don't accidentally roll our head to the left or to the right when we do this movement. So with both hands underneath the back of the head, I'm going to ask that you take your eyeballs and go from looking straight up at the ceiling. I'll ask you to open your eyes if they're closed and allow them to roll to the outer corners of your eyes to the right. And try to really get them down there and hold them so that you're looking out at the corners of both of your eyes towards the right. It's okay to blink. Just try not to let the eyes roll back up. This really increases the range of motion in the neck, but it's supposed to help reset the vagus nerve. What we'll be doing with our eyes in a little bit, I thought it would be good for us to do that. First, let's release the eyes back up to the ceiling. Give a pause. And then once again, this time we're going to roll our eyes towards the left. So we're looking out the corner of our eyes, the left corners of our eyes. Just as far as we can over. And then you can release the eyes. You can even close them if you want now. Release the arms from behind the head. And then once again, roll the head towards the right. Checking in with that range of motion again. And roll the neck to the left. And then release. All right. I'm going to ask you to bring your left leg up in easy resting pose with the sole of the left foot down on the ground. Right leg is still long. I'm going to ask you to press through the right heel and the sole of the left foot, lifting that left hip up off the ground so that you roll yourself onto your right side. And pause there for just a moment. And then from this position, push yourself back upright. Now, this would be the time right now to consider getting a chair to sit on, or you can sit down on the floor, propped up for the next piece. When we get ready to actually do the pretty lady, we will, I always forget the name, it's a seated somatic twist. When we do that, you most definitely might need to consider getting into a chair. So in a comfortable seated position, we're just going to do some head rolls, rolling our head around on the necks. And I'm just going to let you explore that in any direction you want. Rolling forwards and backwards. If you find a spot with more tension that makes you notice it, maybe roll in and out of there a little bit. Okay. Then take your shoulders and draw them up towards your ears. And allow them to release. One more time. Nice, big, draw them up to your ears. And then release. All right. So, if you've forgotten how we do this, you'll want to pay close attention. So, when we sit on the floor for this, I'm going to move forward a bit. If you want to do this seated on the floor, we're going to sit so that, let's all start, and this is one because of how complicated it is. I can't cue mirrored for you. So you'll look at me, if you look at me, I'm going to be the opposite. I'm going to probably look the opposite of what I'm saying to do. So you want the right sole open on the front of the left thigh and the left leg bent so the foot's coming behind. Now on me, you'll notice that this right knee really comes up. Instead of propping the right knee, I'm going to come across here and prop my left bum cheek so that I can just a little bit, that perfect amount, so that I'm not all hunched over on the side. I want to try to be upright as much as possible. So that is a way to sit on the floor. Now, it is so important that you be at ease in your body to do this, because if this isn't right, it's going to detract from all of this movement, okay? So we need our spine straight. On the other side of my body, when I do this, you'll notice I don't really need to prop. Well, maybe I could a tiny bit. So I'm going to prop the right bum cheek. Yep, that's just enough. So they'll probably be different from both sides. So if that is not perfectly comfortable for you, and honestly, there's probably a very good chance that you should really consider using that chair. When you sit on the chair to do this, you'll want to sit forward towards the front. And so when I would cue to swing the legs and the feet towards the left, so the knees are pointing towards the right for the position, you would just move the feet that way so the knees are pointing to that direction. And then switch them over the opposite way when we change position, okay? So get situated, figure out what you need. Oops. So we're going to start with your knees pointing to the right, the sole of the right foot. If you're sitting on the ground, the sole of the right foot on the front of the left thigh, and then prop that left bum however you need to keep that spine straight, to let that knee come down a little bit, okay? If you're sitting in the chair, you're going to allow the feet to go to the left and the knees to drop to the right, okay? Now from this position, seated here, you want to take your right hand and put it on the floor next to you by your hip. See how that feels? Take that left palm and bring it to the front of the right shoulder. Get that situated. Now, if you're able to in your body, I don't know if I can even demonstrate it today. I struggle with, I can barely do it. Notice I'm lifting, here, I'm gonna give myself an assist. Notice I have my elbow up right now, okay? You can lift that elbow up into the air like that if it feels good and right. And if that's too much, like it is for me, allow that elbow to come down. So in this position, first thing I'm going to ask you to do is twist the spine, and you can come around and look again out of the corners, the right corners of the eye over your shoulder, and see how far you can look. We're doing a range of motion test here. So look with your peripheral vision, see how far you can look, and then unwind the body towards the front. So now what we're going to do is we're going to close our eyes, and we're going to roll in and out of that twist just a couple of times, okay? So I'm going to just let you do that at your own pace. Bring the body back towards the front. So just a gentle twisting of the spine towards the right. Allow that head to come around the shoulder as far as it can, and then unwind towards the front of the body. Now, this can cause dizziness. This whole movement can cause some dizziness, maybe some nausea. So keep track of that with yourself. Don't push yourself too hard. Be gentle. It's a lot of cross-lateral movement in the body here. All right. Now open your eyes facing the front of the room. I'm going to ask you to twist your body towards the right and then draw the eyes towards that left eye socket. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to leave the eyes and towards the left, and we're just going to untwist the body forward, trying to look out the left, and then twist back. Close your eyes. Open them back up again. Look out the left corner of the eye. And what you're going to do now, don't do it yet, just let me explain first. You're going to roll the chin towards the left while at the same time slowly rolling your eyes to the right corner. So we're keeping our body in the twist and we're just rotating the head. And we're rotating the eyes. Now, I find it best to pick almost like a focal point with my left eyes so that as I roll the head, the eyes roll on their sockets because I'm looking at a fixed point. So, eyes to the left corner, pick your focal point, keeping the body twisted, roll the head as far as it can towards the left as the eyeballs roll towards the right corners of the eye. And then roll the chin back over to look over the right shoulder as the eyeballs roll back to the left corner. Close the eyes. Let the body swing forward once with the eyes closed. Then come back into the twist. Head turned towards the right, looking over the shoulder. Look out of the right corners of the eyes and see if the range of motion has increased at all. And then release the body. We're going to swing our legs in the opposite direction. So if you're sitting in the chair, the feet will move to the right and the knees will drop to the left. If you're sitting on the floor, the left sole of the foot will be on the inside of the right thigh. The right foot will be backwards. Left hand is going to go down on the floor for support. Also, I forgot to mention, feel free to prop that hand if you need to. If you need to put it on a thin book or something. Once again, right hand on left shoulder. We're doing it opposite this time. I'm going to ask you to twist towards the left as far as you can. Come back forward. Twist to the left again, looking over the shoulder, looking out of the corners of the left corners of the eye. Get a range of motion measure with the eyeballs. And then release forward. And then this time just close your eyes and roll your body into the twist. Roll your body back out of the twist. Go back into the twist on the left. Open your eyes, and this time I'm going to ask you just to try to hold your eyes in the left corner of the sockets. And roll that head towards the front, still looking out of the left side. Roll your head back. Close your eyes. And this time, open your eyes again, looking out of the left corner of your... Ooh. Actually, I want you to look out of the... Lost my train of thought here. You want to look out of the right corner of your eyes. Sorry. And I want you to pick that focal point again. And I want you to roll your head towards the front As your eyeballs roll over to the opposite corner. And then roll your head back. And close your eyes and release your body. Go back into a twist. Again, look over that shoulder, that left shoulder. Check that range of motion, left eye socket. And then release the body forward. All right. Just for a moment, we're going to go ahead and just for a little bit here, because we took a little longer with that. We're going to come back up into the Hasta Mudra. Remember, this is a gesture both of offering and receiving. Remember that idea of reciprocity, giving back to the earth, giving back to others, even as we're receiving. Remember, if you want to use a mantra with that, Om Shrim Maha Lakshmiye Swaha is a great one. Shrim is abundance, Maha means great, and Swaha is so be it. Lakshmi is the goddess of abundance. Om Shrim Maha Lakshmiye Swaha. All right. So if you would please, we're going to lie down for our final relaxation. Again, you have two options. If you really feel that you really need to rest and digest, go ahead and get comfy. You might want to prop the backs of your knees up. Maybe put your head on a little pillow, cover your eyes with an eye mask, or you might possibly find that you would prefer to be in easy resting pose. Give your psoas a nice release. Give yourself a little energy for the evening. So do what is best suited for you. Let's get comfy and tucked into the body. movement to come back into the body. I would just ask that you gently hug your knees back to your chest. Roll that back out. And stretch nice and long any way that the body needs to. And then curl up into a ball. And in that curled up position, roll over onto your left side if you're able to do this. And rest there for a moment. And then push yourself back upright into a seated, comfortable position. And we're going to do our little bit of meditation or loving kindness meditation. Now, this time, as we do that, I would like us to bring our hands back up into the Hasta Mudra, because the metta meditation is a loving kindness meditation for ourselves. And we're asking for things for ourselves. So I'll say the words, I'll say it 3 times, and then you let my words be your words. And then you just repeat them in silence for yourself. May I be safe. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I live with ease of heart. May I be safe. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I live with ease of heart. May I be safe. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I live with ease of heart. Bringing your hands into prayer mudra. May all beings find happiness. May all be free of disease. May all see what is auspicious, and may no one suffer. May you be at peace. May your heart remain open. May you awaken to the light of your own true nature. May you be healed, and may you be a source of healing for all beings. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om peace, peace, peace. Thanks so much for practicing with me today.